Hello and welcome to News Central Now. My name is Mazino. Top stories at this hour. Court stops APC Congress in Rivers State. Fuel scarcity worsens as independent marketers load at 780 naira per litre. World Food Programme aid trucks cross into Sudan after months-long border closure. Details shortly. Welcome again. Let's begin by telling you that the Rivers State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has granted an ex-parte order restraining the All Progressives Congress from holding its scheduled Congress in Rivers State. The court ordered that the national leadership of the APC, led by the chairman Abdullahi Ganduje and its secretary Sarajuddin Ajibola Basiru, should not go ahead to conduct the ward, local government and state congresses scheduled for 11th, 16th and 26th of October 2024. The judge also restrained the national leadership of the party against any plan to suspend the Emeka Beke-led executives of the party in the state. The court further restrained the national chairman of APC, the secretary and the APC from doing anything to interfere in the activities of the elected executives of APC in the state. And Justice Olukayode Ariola on Thursday retired as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, having clocked 70. While delivering his valedictory speech at the Supreme Court complex in Abuja, Ariola disclosed that to suit the times and address current challenges, he signed off on the new Supreme Court Rules 2024 earlier this month. He explained that upon assuming office as the CJN 2 years ago, he was concerned about the rules regulating procedures in the Apex Court, which had been in place for 39 years, predating the advent of the internet and electronic transactions. He noted that although practice directions have been issued periodically over the years to meet the demands of justice, the substantive rule were still from 1985.
For the past 32 years, I have always had one judgment or ruling pending for me to write. I cannot recall a single time in the last 3 decades when there was no judgment for me to write. I am glad to see my younger brother Ademola Abbas Ariwola seated here now with us this morning. He has been based in the United States since his undergraduate days in the early 80s. Anytime I had traveled to visit him for vacation, his wife would always exclaim that she had never seen someone coming on vacation with records of appeals and briefs of argument or writing judgments. It is for this reason that I believe that emoluments of judicial officers must not be sweated for in or outside the office. Our judges must not be made to go cap in hand to beg before their remunerations is paid. Our retired justices deserve to live in a relative reasonable comfort after spending their prime years serving the country. This is more so that they are constitutionally precluded from going back to active practice as barristers after leaving office. If truth must be told, the welfare of the judiciary is the welfare of the country.
The federal government has increased the fees for the procurement of Nigerian passports with effect from the 1st of September 2024. The statement by the spokesperson of the Nigerian Immigration Service, DCI Kenneth Udo, says the increment is a part of the government's efforts to maintain the quality and integrity of the Nigerian standard passport. He said that based on the review, a 32-page passport booklet with 5-year validity previously charged at 35,000 naira will now be 50,000 naira only, while a 64-page passport booklet with 10-year validity, which was 70,000 naira, will be 100,000 naira only. The statement further adds that the fees remain unchanged for Nigerians in diaspora. Let's remind you that after assuming his office last year, the Interior Minister, Tunji Ojo, said he has the mandate to turn around the fortunes of the ministry and its agencies by formulating policies that will help the country effectively deal with all issues around internal security. He listed 7 priority areas, including the deployment of technology in border security, removal of passport bottlenecks, improved fire response time, reformation of inmates, tackling insecurity, decongestion of custodial centers, and passage of the new Fire Act. Senior travel shark travel tank, Lukman Junaid, joins us now to discuss this. Good evening, Mr. Junaid. Welcome. Good of you to have to join us here this evening. Now,
Thank you
would like to find out what your thoughts are on the legality of the Nigerian government's decision to increase passport fees without consultation of legislative approval.
Well, it's a huge question to ask the government, actually. Typically, when such decisions are meant to be taken, it is expected that government will consult stakeholders, and the legislative arm of government will also have an oversight duties before these decisions are made. But it appears this is not done, and this has actually put government in bad light. People asking questions as to why we have an increase in the procurement of passports at this time. At this time, people are complaining that things are going up, cost of living are going up, but we have the passports fees now going up by over 20%. It's a huge one for passengers, Nigerians or average Nigerians willing to procure the passports to travel out at this time.
So one question that Nigerians are asking, they're asking what the correlation is. How does this increase in passport fees align with the principle of transparency and accountability in public administration, particularly in light of the government's claims of commitments to these values?
Basically, it doesn't appear no stakeholder was consulted. That way, it doesn't show that government was actually accountable in the process taken to take this decision. Nobody was consulted. I'm not sure the legislative arm of government was also, reach out to in regards to this fee increase. So ordinarily, it's not. It doesn't take the rightful step that government should go through before a decision or such decisions are taken, and this actually, affects the public trust in the government currently.
Well, what about? Let's talk about the advantage or people who are disadvantaged by this. Do you believe that perhaps maybe the increase in fees will also affect certain groups such as low-income earners in Nigeria, the marginalized communities, those who might not be able to afford these amounts?
Well, these amounts affect both the rich and the poor. Practically, recently, there are arguments or comparison between the Nigerian economy or Nigerian society with the others. People are saying that we don't even have a middle class anymore. So both the rich and the poor, or people who perceive as middle class currently, are all affected with the increase in the procurement of passport currently. And this is a no-no to anybody willing to procure right now. If you have a budget set, maybe people already have a plan to travel in like 3-4 months ago, and they are willing to procure the passport at this time. Now their budget needs to be increased, and it's not something that you smile to the bank.
So does this impede the rights to movement, the rights to leave the country in any way, when we're looking at it from a human rights angle?
Well, this step taken by the government has nothing to do with human rights abuse. Basically, the right of every Nigerian to go, freedom, to have the right of every Nigerian to leave any country, or even the right to move from one place to another, is not in any way abused. So this does not create any issue of such an abuse. But it's only, I think the intention of government is to have a passport that has security backing, and people can be tracked as to whose document is this, and also people making fake passports, such acts will be reduced. So ordinary Nigerian right to move from one point to the other is not in any way disrupted or abused. So it doesn't affect any human rights record for Nigerians.
Well, okay then. Mr. Junaid, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you for your insight.
Thank you very much.
And now to security matters. Bandits have killed 13 persons on their farms at the Ijua fringes of the Alao community of the Shiroro local government area of Niger State. The LGA chairman, Akilu Ishiaku, confirmed the killing of the 13 farmers in an interview with a local radio station in Minna on Wednesday. He said the bandits shot 9 of the victims to death while 4 others were killed at a different location the same day. A local also said the bandits targeted the community over allegations that members supply intelligence to security agencies on bandits' movements. Meanwhile, the Niger State Acting Governor Yakubu Gaba has described the attack as satanic and callous. And the Sakin Kudun Gatawa Alhaji Muhammad Bawa has reportedly passed away while being held captive by bandits. His death was confirmed by one of his sons on Wednesday afternoon. The monarch was kidnapped a month ago and had recently appeared in a video pleading for help to secure his release. In the video, Alhaji Bawa, seen with injuries and in chains, appealed to the Sokoto state government, the Sultanate Council, and his relatives to pay the ransom demanded by his captors, emphasizing his years of service to the government. In Nigeria's northeast, the Borno state government is set to establish a new initiative aimed at improving legal protection for children, the Justice for Children Forum. The announcement was made during a one-day stakeholders meeting focused on enhancing access to justice for children across the state. News Central's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
The growing number of street children and out-of-school children remains one major issue of concern. News Central recently reported the critical issues such as the needs of street children and those out of school. Borno State government and other development partners like the UNICEF, among other stakeholders, discuss practical solutions to the menace.
We will launch the Justice for Children Forum as an interagency mechanism to ensure sustainable access to justice for children in our state, because one agency cannot do it. We are all stake in this. We are all stakeholders in this. We have stakes. And definitely we have to all come together, passionately work towards this goal. I want to take this opportunity to express our deepest gratitude to UNICEF for their unwavering support and commitment to the children of Borno State. We've been feeling their impact, their presence for long.
We stand committed to contributing to this initiative, contributing to this very noble initiative, supporting the state government in implementing the Reimagine Justice for Children agenda, which speaks principally to protect children. And I'm very happy here we have a Borno State child protection law.
The government aims to foster a collaborative approach to ensure that every child in Borno State receives the justice and support they need.
The Sangaya structure is a structure that worked for us even before the advent of Western education. It has worked for our community and is still working for our community, and we are known for this. But then, what do we need to do? We need to make it work in a better way. This is our plan. We will make it work in a better way that other states will look up to us and say, oh, okay, this Almajiri structure is working, and let's copy from this model.
The Almajiri child is everybody's business. Let's all come together to ensure that we protect these children. Lord, let's not leave it to the government alone. The government alone cannot do it.
Enhanced collaboration among various sectors to ensure that every child in Borno has access to justice and necessary support is what is needed next. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Let's take a short break now, and when we get back, more news on the other side. Welcome back. The prolonged petrol scarcity worsened in Lagos, Ogun and other states as independent marketers started lifting the products from private depots at 780 naira per litre from 595 naira per litre, indicating an increase of 31%. The marketers believe the hike in price reflects the current demand and supply of the products in the domestic market. The public relations officer of Ipman, Chinedu Ukadike, who confirmed this, expressed optimism that the bad situation would improve in the coming days. Ukadike noted that more trucks have left the depots in the past few days, adding that though independent marketers are still sourcing the product at a high rate, more marketers can load their trucks. Now joining us to discuss this is National Industrial Relations Officer Pengenson Eze Ifeanyi. Mr. Eze, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Yeah, Pete, thank you for having me. Good evening.
Welcome. Good, sir. Now, sir, what's the current retail price of petrol at NNPC-owned stations? Let's get that clear. And how does it compare with the 780 naira per litre loading price for independent marketers currently?
The current price in NNPC retail outlets is not even one price. I think you can get it from like 6.15 to maybe 6.30, depending on the location. Like you mentioned, the independent marketers said they load above 700. And that is why the private outlets now sell as much as 870, above 800 in some locations.
Okay, and what's the impact of the high loading price on the retail price of petrol when we go to the fueling stations to buy? How will it affect consumers? What's the rate at which consumers will be buying?
Of course, if they buy at like 780, they mentioned, what it means is that they're going to sell above 780. And that is an increase in the price of fuel, which will result to increase in transportation, increase for those small businesses that use fuel for generating electricity, like the barber workshop, the hairdresser, etc., etc. And of course, it's going to translate to what they charge the public. They will eventually translate the cost to the masses.
So is Penguin not considering these costs that are being transferred to the masses? And is there no way to perhaps maybe regulate this cost in some small way so that it's not passed on? Because at the current rate, people are buying at 880 naira in the market right now.
Yeah, Penguin, we've been trying to do that. We've been engaging the stakeholders, especially the NNPCL. Presently, I'm in Abuja, and I know we are having a summit here. If you listen to some of the things we've been doing, we've engaged the NNPCL, we've even engaged the other regulators, government agencies concerned. The point is that they keep telling us that it's a question of logistics, motorboats, and so on and so forth, weather, rain, and etc. I remember the last time I was in this station, I mentioned that even things like bad roads can affect the price of fuel. But the one we are really concerned is that when they go to buy from private loading bays, why with those people have fuel and the marketers can't get fuel straight direct from NNPC? Because if they do, I believe the price will be less, and that is what we are trying to engage NNPCL on now, as we're here to find out how that can be solved.
So, sir, I think the big question on everybody's lips now is what exactly the underlying causes for the scarcity is. How can it be addressed? We really don't know, and nobody's telling exactly, no authority is telling who or what or why there is this scarcity. What is it exactly, sir?
From the limited information, I would say it's limited information we have. Of course, the only people that can say exactly what this problem is NNPCL. But what they've just told us, like I mentioned earlier, is the issue of logistics, issue of rain disturbing the small boats from getting the fuel to reach us. But like we've been saying, look, what should be paramount, like we are pushing and pushing hard now, is that if we start producing fuel in Nigeria, we won't be having these issues. We have to get our local refineries functioning. Then that will cut down the cost, and all these excuses of logistics of now shipping and not shipping won't be there. So we are looking forward that as they've given us another date, which is September next month, that Port Harcourt refinery will come on stream and maybe Dangote too will start producing. We believe, because that's the bigger picture. That's where we are looking at, not even all these their logistics of bringing fuel from outside now. No, that's what we are looking at. That's our passion, for us to start producing fuel locally and make it available locally for our people.
Internally produced fuel, whether from the Port Harcourt refinery or from the Dangote refinery. September is the date. However, going back to the pricing and how this is affecting consumers, the PPPRA, what exactly are they doing regarding the pricing regulations? How effective have they been since in preventing the price increase, because it doesn't seem to be working?
Between me and you, we know that the government keeps saying that the price of fuel has been deregulated. That's the point. So the question is that if it's a deregulated economy, if it's a deregulated fuel, how do you now control price again? You see? So it's a difficult one. But then we know that an NPCL is only a company importing fuel and distributing, because from all we know is that they are the people that are getting the government regulated cost for dollar that makes it possible for them to get it down and sell it at that price the official stations are selling. But it's not working because some of us think too that there are some sharp practices, because why would the private loading bays be having fuel? Why would they be having fuel and people can't get fuel straight from an NPCL company straight to the consumers? So, like I said, we are looking at it, we are discussing too, and we are making our own investigation. At a stage, we may go further after interrogation to take some actions that can actually make government to know that people are suffering and that we are serious about getting these things done right.
Well, Mr. Ifeanyi, I want to say thank you very much for joining us this evening on the news. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Api, for having me.
You're welcome. Now, beneficiaries of the recapitalization grants of the First Lady of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, have expressed hope that the grant will assist their business stay afloat. The First Lady of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, on Thursday launched the recapitalization grant for 37,000 petty traders across the nation. News Central's Chinwe Ogele reports that in Abia, the wife of the Chief of Staff to the President represented the First Lady.
Seek salvation from the present economic situation in the country to enable them still stay afloat in their businesses. Any form of help they can get from anywhere will certainly ease their pain.
It will get a lot for me to start, because I just started a new business, and that is confectionery business, so it's going to help me a lot.
At the event to launch the First Lady's recapitalization grant to petty traders in Umuahia, Abia State capital, each beneficiary is expected to get the sum of 50,000 naira, which they still believe that, if well managed, will go a long way in boosting their trades.
I'm selling okra and ose. It will help me a lot. I pray to Almighty Father to bless this woman.
Well, I will know how to manage it, no matter how cost of thing is. We know how to just manage it, and it will not be so easy for us to make 50,000 nowadays. Because things of nowadays are very hard for us to.
First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, who was represented by Salamatu Bajabiamila, says the essence of the grant is to help the economy.
The grants provided today is to assist our women petty traders in overcoming some of their business challenges, expand their businesses, create more jobs, and contribute more robustly to our economy.
Wife of Abia State Governor Priscilla Oti underscores the challenges of running businesses by women.
You are the backbone of our communities. Your success is a victory for all of us. We believe in you, and we stand with you as you continue to pursue your dreams. Together, we can achieve great things.
Today, you have added 50 million naira to the economic bucket of local families in Abia State, and that means a lot.
Deputy Governor Ikechukwu Emetu, who represented Governor Alex Oti at the launch, noted that the grants complement the efforts of the state government in improving the lives of her citizens.
Abia women receiving these grants are encouraged to seize the opportunity with determination and innovation. They should utilize the resources to improve their businesses and inspire others through their success and resilience.
Hopefully, the petty traders who sincerely need help to give their businesses a boost will be able to access the grant. In Omaha for News Central, Chinwe Ugeli.
And now to health matters. Stakeholders in the health sector, including government officials, healthcare professionals and media representatives, have converged on Lagos to ensure that an average Nigerian has access to basic health services, especially the poor and vulnerable populations. News Central's Bettina Nweli reports that the stakeholders gathering was organized by the Federal Ministry of Health.
The sector-wide approach, SWAP, is a coordinated effort designed to overcome the fragmentation and inefficiencies that have plagued Nigeria's health sector for decades. This management approach is set to transform the healthcare landscape across the country.
The Honorable Coordinating Minister of Health has made very giant steps to ensure that the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund is utilized efficiently in the country and to galvanize the various sectors and stakeholders in health to focus on one goal, to work together in one direction, to make sure that our combined effort is greater than our individual results.
The focus of this parley is to evaluate the progress made so far, as well as to discuss strategies for overcoming current challenges. Highlights of the parley included presentations on the fund's impact, as well as a question and answer session addressing concerns about fund allocation and effectiveness.
What does the media have to do with the NCDC Basic Healthcare Gateway? You are our partners. We work with you. You are our eyes and ears at the community. And we want to strengthen that partnership with the media.
We realize there is something that is missing. That is provision of medical emergency and ambulance services. You understand, whereby if you are sick, you call a number, a toll-free number, and an ambulance will be dispatched to your own house or to the point of incident, and the patient or client, as the case may be, will be picked and taken to the nearby appropriate health facility, and services will be rendered to the person at no cost to that patient or client, as the case may be. So we feel the need to have such in this country, and that is the way to go. And that is the reason why this National Emergency Medical Service and Ambulance System was introduced. Currently, we are running, it's actually been activated in some states, Anambra, Ikiti, Yobe, and we're doing very fine.
While the need for increased public awareness and community involvement to maximize the benefits of the fund cannot be overemphasized, the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund remains a cornerstone in Nigeria's efforts to enhance healthcare accessibility and equity. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Nweli.
Now coming up, World Food Programme aid trucks cross into Sudan after months-long border closure. We'll bring you the details after the break. Welcome back. Now, severe flooding caused by heavy rains has submerged parts of Niger's capital, Niamey, leaving major roads underwater and cutting off the city from other parts of the country for several days. Rising water levels in the Niger River are raising concerns among residents who fear that hastily reinforced dikes may not hold. Amid the growing crises, frustrated residents are calling on the government for more assistance to address the situation and prevent further damage.
irne mota yan sambune iri kwanda liboro no gande isa zam hari woni manti isa harino kan balaw do no kan ka irko mirwada irkoy isa ir sambu hi yande hi koyan kangi zorandi goniyan kanga wani ngay goyo igoga temo alhamdulillah ir kanda boray dini igoga boray darandi igo konday igo kanday ngay dingay ginay lahi alaw ir mondu problem ko ir go ngwaray gomnantiga am kandir se gaga sinay go tonton hi marju kulki gi hinga kanda kangal silamay fabi mukanda amma gomnanti kandinga gaga sina zama hi bambata hinka wone gendarmerie wona ya kan yamani go boray sambu go konda igo yega kandai bani irgo sabu soje hinose.
Les craintes sont énormes parce qu'une fois cette digue cède, effectivement toute la zone de la mort sera inondée et beaucoup de personnes risqueraient de se retrouver sans abri, seront obligées de libérer leur maison et les conséquences Dieu seul peut les mesurer. À l'échelle humaine, on peut juste estimer qu'il peut y avoir des risques de mort, d'inondation, d'effondrement de maisons. Mais il vaut mieux prévenir que guérir.
Présentement, à 13h45, on est à 647. Alors que le truc maximum, c'est à 620. Donc, ce qui veut dire qu'on est déjà dépassé. Et heureusement que la digue a été rehaussée. Sinon, tout le monde sera dégagé. Tout le monde sera dégagé. Mais alhamdoulilah, la digue, quand même, ça tient présentement. Là où on vous parle, ça tient.
The World Food Programme, WFP, a truck successfully crossed into war-torn Sudan from Chad on Thursday via the key Andra border crossing, which had been closed for 6 months by Sudanese authorities. The prolonged closure had severely hindered humanitarian efforts to deliver crucial aid to millions affected by the ongoing conflict between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary rapid support forces. The reopening of this border crossing marks a significant step in addressing the dire needs of those caught in the conflict.
These trucks are the first in months to cross from Chad into Sudan at the Adre border post. And this is a very good news because this corridor is the easiest and the fastest for humanitarian aid to reach populations in critical.
13 people, including 5 civilians, were killed in an attack by unidentified assailants in southern Ethiopia, local authorities reported on Thursday. The attack, which began on August 17 and lasted for 3 days, occurred in the Segen district of the Kanso area. Sarawit Dibaba, the spokesman of the local communications affairs department, stated that the attackers killed 8 police officers and 5 civilians. He also noted that the group behind the attack had a history of committing various crimes, including murders and property arson, and was responsible for the killing of a police officer last month. The Kanso area has experienced several instances of deadly violence in the past, including an intercommunal conflict in 2022 that displaced approximately 37,000 people. A massive diamond, one of the largest ever discovered, has been unearthed in Botswana. The rough 2,492 carat gem was found in the Karowe diamond mine in northeastern Botswana, approximately 430 kilometers from the capital, Gaborone. The discovery was announced on Thursday by Lucara Diamond Corp, the Canadian mining company responsible for the find. Lucara's president and CEO, William Lamb, confirmed the discovery but did not disclose the diamond's value or quality. The stone is among the largest in history, trailing only the 3,16.75 carat Cullinan diamond, which was discovered in South Africa in 1905. Botswana, a leading diamond producer globally, relies heavily on diamond mining as its primary source of income. And still ahead, thousands of homes in northern Thailand hit by flooding. We'll bring you details after the break. Welcome back. U.S. Democratic Party's vice president candidate Tim Walz formally accepted his nomination as the party's convention in Chicago. In his keynote address, Walz expressed his gratitude and humility, also emphasizing the importance of patriotism, stating that the delegates were gathered because of their shared love for the country.
And that we're all in this together.
You know, you might not know it, but I haven't given a lot of big speeches like this. But I have given a lot of pep talks. So let me finish with this, team. It's the fourth quarter. We're down a field goal, but we're on offense and we've got the ball. We're driving down the field. And boy, do we have the right team. Kamala Harris is tough. Kamala Harris is experienced, and Kamala Harris is ready. Our job for everyone watching is to get in the trenches and do the blocking and tackling.
And for more on this, I'm joined by our international correspondent, Afia Hagen. Afia, good evening. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Good. Now, Afia, a big third night at the Democratic National Convention, especially for Vice President pick Tim Walz. Now, what were the main highlights from his maiden speech at the convention?
Yeah, a really monumental night, in fact, for a vice presidential pick, Tim Walz. He officially accepted the nomination from the Democratic Party, and he really went home on trying to emphasize who he is and what he does. You know, he is all about trying to get middle America to vote for the Democrats. So you emphasize his time as a teacher, as a coach, as a veteran, as of being a man of the people. And he was trying to really be as authentic as possible. You know, he said there that he's not used to giving these huge speeches. And in fact, before he was even selected to be the vice presidential pick, he'd never used a teleprompter. He also talked about his family's struggles with fertility, using fertility treatments, and how that's something that he wants to make sure he can ring fence when he is part of the when he's vice president, if he makes it. And also, you know, he talked about the future of the country, how Kamala Harris is the best person for the job, and also looked back to the time of Joe Biden and thanked him for his service. So this was really about Tim Walz being everyman, being the man of the people, and trying to attract middle America to vote for the Democrats.
And tonight's another big night, so what can we expect from tonight, which is going to be the last night, if I'm not mistaken, for at the DNC?
Yeah, absolutely. Tonight is the last night of the Democratic National Convention. So last night, you know, you had Tim Walz, you had Bill Clinton, Oprah Winfrey, John Legend, Stevie Wonder. How do you top that? Well, tonight you have Kamala Harris giving her acceptance speech for her nomination. And also laying the groundwork of how she is going to be president, what she's going to do. You know, this convention has all been about joy and good vibes, but now it's time to turn those good vibes into solid, real policies. And that's what Harris will be focusing on this evening. We can expect more surprise guests, more people taking to the stage in support of Harris. We know that Pink, the artist, is going to close out the evening with a huge performance as well. But tonight is all about Vice President Kamala Harris telling us why she will be a good president and trying to convince the undecided voters that she is the best person for the job.
Any focus on former President Donald Trump? He had a speech himself, and he thought the Obamas had fingered him in their speeches. What's happening on his side of town?
Well, yesterday he gave a speech in North Carolina, and it was actually the first rally that he's done outside since that assassination attempt. Now, he was very heavily protected. There was sort of like a perspex, a bulletproof glass case around him and around J.D. Vance as well. So security has certainly been upped and taking those precautions. Now, his team are trying to get him on message to focus on what he will do when he's president, focus on his ideas for the economy, for immigration. He did go a little bit off piste, and he was talking about the Obamas, saying that they were very nasty about him the night before, and saying that he always tries to be nice to people. But he's going to be in Arizona later on this evening. He's going to be in Arizona tomorrow as well. And the independent candidate, Robert F. Kennedy, is going to be in Arizona also. So it's thought that RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is going to throw in the towel on his campaign. He was running as an independent, trailing way behind in the polls, but it's thought that he is going to throw his hat in the ring or not do that anymore. He's going to give up his campaign and possibly endorse former President Donald Trump and join the Republican side. So we could see that happening perhaps later on today or tomorrow also.
You did say that his team are trying to keep him on track. I'm wondering exactly what the public perception is. It's America. We really don't know how it would swing. But what's it like, the public? What are they feeling from off of his new rally?
Well, a lot of his supporters are saying that it's good to see him back out doing these outdoor rallies. And that's what he likes doing. He likes being, on these big stages speaking to the people. But people are worried that he's not delivering on message, that he's not telling people what he's going to do as president. And there's actually fears that the Democrats might be doing the same thing. They're talking a lot about Trump. That's why I was saying it's now Harris's turn to talk about policies. And they want to get Trump to try and do the same thing. What are your policies? What are you going to do for the country? And also it's about his team trying to fact check him, make sure the things that he's saying are accurate and are true. Now, at the moment, Kamala Harris certainly has a bit of a bump, and the convention always gives you a boost in the polls, and she is ahead at the polls at the moment by about 4%, but that's something that can be negated very, very quickly. So both sides are really now about drilling down on what they can do for the country, and in key areas: abortion, immigration, the economy. These are the things that American people really, really care about, and they want to hear from their candidates what they are going to do to make their lives better.
Afia, I want to say thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
And now, floods caused by seasonal heavy rains in northern Thailand have killed 5 people and inundated more than 2,000 hectares of farmland, with thousands of homes affected. New Prime Minister Phutongthang Shinawatra has asked for help to be sent to the worst affected areas in Chiang Rai, Nan and Peo provinces. The Department of Disaster Prevention and Mitigation said 2,052 hectares of farmland have been destroyed and 12,777 households had been affected by the floods, without specifying how many people that represented. The Health Ministry said that 5 people were killed with 32 injured in flooding over the past month.
น้ำมาก่อนแล้วก็ต้องเสียหายก่อนเราล้อมทันไม่ทันครับไม่ทันเพราะว่ามันมาวันแรกน้ำก็เพียงหัวเข่าแล้วเท่าบ้านเสียหายหมดเอาตัวเองหลอดก่อนใช่ว่าเหลืออีกสักอย่างเหลือแล้ว
เก็บตั้งแต่เช้าแล้วแต่ว่าน้ำมันมาสูงเกินเนาะมันก็เลยไม่ได้
นี่กังวลไหมคืนนี้นอนหลับไหม
Now let's do sports. Nigerian forward Ademola Lookman has resumed training with his Atlanta teammates despite reports linking him to a move with Ligue 1 giants Paris Saint-Germain. The Nigerian international held talks with PSG last week over a possible move to the Ligue 1 champions. PSG has, however, failed to establish contact with Atlanta. With Luis Enrique's side interested in Lookman following cooling off, the winger is now set to remain with Atlanta. Lookman joined Atlanta from RB Leipzig in a £9.3 million, or rather €9.3 million deal in 2022 and has scored 32 goals in 79 games for the Italian outfit, including an important hat-trick against Bayern Leverkusen in the 2023-24 Europa League final. And that's all this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Court has stopped APC Congress in Rivers State. Fuel scarcity has worsened as independent marketers load at 780 naira per litre. We also told you that World Food Programme aid trucks have crossed into Sudan after months-long border closure. And that's all the news this hour. Send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screen now. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.